Hi Aquarius, welcome back to the Astrology 33 channel. This is your July 2026 tarot reading. Thanks to those of you who have liked, viewed, shared, and subscribed to the channel. I appreciate all of that. For those of you new to the channel, as far as what we have in front of us, it's a 12 card spread with each card representing a different house of the zodiac, starting with your sign. Aquarius is the first house, all the way through to Capricorn representing the 12th house. When we get through that, we'll pull an oracle card as well with some additional insight. As far as the decks being used this month, for the main tarot deck, we're using the Guardian of the Night Tarot, and for the Oracle deck, we're using the Spirit Animal Oracle. We're actually going to start the reading off by rolling astrology dice to get an idea of where your focus should be as far as that goes. Alright, so we have the moon, and usually when I see the moon pop up, I just point out the main lunar cycles that are coming up. So at the time of recording this, we haven't had that Capricorn full moon yet, so that's going to be happening on the 29th of June. Then on the 14th of July, we'll have a new moon in Cancer. And then at the end of the month, on the 29th of July, we'll have a full moon in your sign. So, of course, that one would probably be the most significant one for you. But, yeah, the full moon in Capricorn, of course, will be in your 12th house, which points to spirituality, blind spots, and mental health. And then that new moon in Cancer would be in your 6th house of work, health, and daily routines. So we'll keep all those in mind. Alright, so 5th house energy for you guys is Gemini. 5th house in general points to romance, creativity, and children. And as far as what'll be going on in Gemini, of course, we've had Uranus there for a while. That's your ruler as well, so there's some significance to that. And then on the 28th of June, Mars will move into Gemini, and it'll pretty much be there through the entire month of July. So keep that in mind as well. And then we see Taurus. So for you guys, Taurus is your 4th house of home, roots, and family. Astrologically speaking, we did just have Chiron enter there recently, so there could be some situations coming up for healing within that area of life. So keep all that in mind as we go through the main spread. Alright, so for the 1st house, which points to personality, self-awareness, and appearance, we have the 4 of Cups. So this is Cancerian energy here. Yeah, it could just be saying that you're feeling a little bit disappointed at this time, maybe with offers that are coming your way. For some of you, this could be even leaning more toward work offers, career offers, given that Cancerian energy for you guys is 6th house. But yeah, I feel like this is just saying that in general, there could be some level of disappointment that you're feeling with things that are coming your way at this time. Alright, in your 2nd house of possession, self-worth, and finances, we have the Ace of Pentacles. So, it looks like you could receive some kind of a new idea this month when it comes to finances. Now, for some of you, this could be one of those things that comes to you intuitively, but for others of you, maybe you'll overhear something that might resonate with you, or there might be an offer that comes more directly your way. But with the Ace energies, I always point out to people, they still would require action to actually be brought into fruition, versus, like, let's say a page is more of an indicator of the action actually taking place. Here it would be something that would require a little bit more work to get off the ground. Alright, so for your 3rd house energy, which points to communication, short journey, and siblings, we have the High Priestess. So yeah, this could just be saying that when it comes to your communication, you could just be relying a little bit more on intuition this month, rather than just outwardly asking a question of someone, right? Or outwardly expressing what's on your mind. Could just be one of those things where you're just more intuitive this month. And, as far as what's in your 3rd house communication, one of the main things that could point to that is the fact that we do have Neptune in your sign of communication, which is Aries. So yeah, having that, it will actually have a retrograde starting on the 7th of July, so it could be one of those things, right, where maybe if you feel like you lacked a little bit of clarity around your intuition with the retrograde, it might actually help bring some of that clarity back around for you. Alright, so for the 4th house, which, as we mentioned, since it came up with the dice as Taurus as well, we see the 4 of Swords. So yeah, so this could just be saying that maybe there is going to be some healing that you would be going through. which again, like we said, fits the fact that Chiron recently came into Taurus. And, the Four of Swords naturally comes after the Three of Swords, right? So this could just be pointing to maybe that healing process will be kicking in for you guys when it comes to things related to your home, your roots, family, right? Maybe early upbringing, things that maybe you thought were behind you. Maybe they'll be coming back up to the surface for healing around this time. But that's what I see with that. All right, so for your fifth house, we talked about the energy that would be going through there as we move through July. But for your tarot card for the fifth house, we have the Strength card. So this is actually the major arcana card for Leo, which is your relationship house. So yeah, could just be saying that for some of you. Maybe you will actually put yourselves out there, make a romantic offer to someone, right? And I feel like there's still going to be a certain level of restraint around it, but at the same time, it looks like there will be the boldness to come forward and make the move, right? So if it's something that you've been thinking about for a while, it looks like you could finally go through with it this month. And but at the same time, I feel like you're gonna have a certain level of restraint around it too, right? So even if you really, really want the person, I feel like you'll go ahead and make the move, but you might not fully reveal them just how deep those feelings run at this time. All right, so for your sixth house energy, which points to health, work, and daily routines, we have the Two of Swords. So yeah, I kind of see this tying into what we were talking about with the Four of Cups, right? So for some of you, yeah, maybe there's just one of those things where you could be exploring opportunities right now when it comes to work, right? And you could just be, maybe you narrowed it down a little bit, right? So maybe you're down to just two, but you could have a little bit of difficulty trying to figure out which way to go from there. You could just be looking at things from a higher perspective too, right? So you could be like, all right, maybe this one might give me more immediate gratification, but this one might have the more long-term potential, right? So you could just be on the fence trying to figure out which way to go with that. And if this is around maybe even just daily routines, right? Or like a fitness routine you're trying to start up, maybe a similar thing there too, where you're trying to decide what would be the best fit for you right now. All right, for the seventh house of partnerships, contracts, and relationships, we have the Five of Swords. So this is actually an Aquarius energy here, so this could definitely resonate with you guys in that regard. But when I'm getting with this, at the very least, this was saying to me, yeah, this probably wouldn't be the best time to sign any new contracts for sure. As we mentioned, we have the Mercury retrograde as well, right? So between that and seeing this particular energy showing up in your seventh house, looks like contracts, if you could put off signing them, that would be ideal, right? Even if you can't, maybe at least leave the door open for renegotiation soon after, right? In case you do notice down the line that, yeah, maybe this isn't fitting and working out quite the way I hoped. But if this comes to relationship dynamics, it could just be as simple as, both sides will be dug in on the situation and no one's really willing to give, So if you feel like you could see a clash coming with your partner, right? And you know that you don't plan on budging, just know that they're going to be in that exact same energy. So it might just be one of those things where, you know what, let me just try to ride this energy out and we can revisit it a little bit later down the line. All right, so for your eighth house energy, which points to death, rebirth, intimacy, and investments, we have the Two of Wands. So yeah, so there's this desire for something fresh, something new that seems to be coming up. For some of you, if this is related more to intimacy, given what we were seeing with the fifth house too, right? Now we could see this is the Leo major arcana. Now we can see more Leo symbolism with the artwork here as well, right? So it could just be one of those things where if that's the case, if it's more related to intimacy, you could just be saying that things could be going well there. But yeah, if it's more related to investments and whatnot, I think it's fitting that they're looking right at the Five of Arrows energy, right? So again, like I said, if you were thinking of investing and signing contracts, at the very least, give them a lot of thought and look them over before you do sign, because there is the potential for maybe a little bit of deception there where someone has a winner-take-all mentality versus coming together for the greater good around signing a contract. All right, so for the ninth house energy, which points to philosophy, higher learning, and foreign affairs, we have the Ten of Swords. So obviously a bit of a heavy energy there, right? And what this could be pointing to is soon we'll be having the North Node moving into your sign toward the end of July on the 26th. So it could be one of those things where this is going to be bringing stuff up to the surface between that and what we mentioned with Chiron as well. So it could just be one of those things where you might be revisiting some beliefs that you might have held for a long time and realizing that maybe they don't fit for you quite as well as they did at one point as they do now. So it could just be one of those things where, like, all right, maybe that did fit at one point, but now it's doing more harm and good for me to, more harm than good, rather, for me to continue to hold these beliefs at this time. All right, so for your 10th house energy, pointing to career and social status, we have temperance. So interesting to see the frog energy here, just like we had with the 6th house, right? And what I'm getting with this more than anything could just be saying that this is ultimately what you're looking for, right? Something that has a little bit of balance. So we see the 1 foot in the water, 1 foot on the ground, right? So it could just be one of those things where ultimately what you're looking for is something that you could have a bit of an emotional connection to, right, to keep you motivated to continue to do it, but also that could pay the bills, right? So that could be ultimately what you're looking for. If that's the case, it looks like that opportunity can come forward for you. So with this 2 of Swords energy, you know, if you're maybe losing a little bit of faith to that being the case, it looks like it can come forward for you. Just might require a little bit of patience. And then I feel like this is also pointing to what you probably suspect too, from what we were talking about the 6th house energy earlier, where, you know, it might even be hinting to you that this is what you would need to ultimately want to stick with something long term anyway. So if you have one thing that fulfills one of the needs and not the other, right, could just be saying, well, you might find yourselves back at square one down the line. So if you could find something that fits both needs, it might be the best way to go. Easier said than done, of course, but, you know, if that opportunity arises, that might be more of a hint for what would be better. All right, for the 11th house energy, which points to friendships, groups, hopes, and wishes, we have the 9 of Cups. So yeah, this is a Pisces energy here, but to see this pop up in your 11th house to me says that ultimately looks like you do have people you could depend on, right? You might feel like that group could even be growing now. And seeing that, and then also thinking about how that Sagittarius energy points to your 11th house of friendships too. It could also just be saying that maybe the key to finding an opportunity that's really a good fit with you as far as your work and career goes could be saying to maybe tap into your friend group, right? Or possibly just whatever groups that you might be associated with, because they might actually have the right opportunity that would be a good fit for you. All right. And for the 12th house energy, which points primarily to blind spots, mental health, and spirituality, we have the 2 of Pentacles. So yeah, so this is a Capricorn energy here, and that is your natural 12th house, so we do see that connection, but again, I feel like this is tying into the 2 of Swords we see here, even the 4 of Cups to an extent in the 1st house, right? Because it could just be saying that you're really just trying to make that decision, right? You're weighing the pros and cons of, it looks like at least, I would say, at least 2 options. I feel like realistically there was probably more than 2 options, but you probably just narrowed it down to 2 main ones at this point. So yeah, could just be saying that that's going to be how you spend a lot of your time, is trying to weigh the pros and cons of these options before making a decision. Now, I do have to say, even though this is a July reading, like I said, at the time of recording this, we haven't had that full moon in Capricorn yet. So when that full moon in Capricorn comes on the 29th of June, you know, maybe that'll be that last missing piece of the puzzle that actually give you the insight as to what the better option would be. And then you'll be able to move forward more confidently toward that goal in July. All right, and bottom of the deck, we have the Hermit. So this is the major arcana card for Virgo, and yeah, it could just be saying that you might have gone through a cycle of being a bit more withdrawn lately, you know. Maybe you had your reasons for it, right? Especially if you've been weighing heavy decisions like, okay, what am I going to do for a career, right? Things along those lines. just trying to tap into your intuition, maybe going through a bit of a healing cycle, right? There's plenty of reasons that could point to why you might have been in this energy. But yeah, I feel like this is saying that you've been a bit more withdrawn lately. And, I see a bit of a mixed bag here. It looks like you do have some desire to reintegrate to an extent, but it seems to be where more you're looking for that with a partner versus, a broad group. But again, like I said, looks like you do have some valuable resources available to you in your larger friend group as well when you are ready to reemerge and be a bit more sociable. So we'll see what the Oracle card adds to the mix. So what I'm going to do is I'll give this a few shuffles, then I'll cut the deck and pull a card. Alright, take this card here, get this out of the way, and we'll see what you got. Alright, we have Rapid Spirit, and it says, now is a lucky time. There's the artwork, and the number is 49. So we'll see what this has to say. Alright, the Oracle message says, a sunny meadow calls, and Rapid Spirit appears to lead you out of your dark warren and into the light so that you can participate in a fertile and beautiful experience. It may seem safe below ground, but the magic happens when you come out and take the risk of being vulnerable and co-creating something new. You are being invited into a new life that you have no experience with, but have no fear. Today is a time to be fruitful and productive as you enjoy Rapid Spirit's sunny and prolific energy. At this time, whatever you intend to bring to life will find fertile ground. There are no mistakes, really, when you are co-creating with Spirit. So let new ideas spring to the surface, knowing that now is a lucky time of tremendous possibility. So yeah, I definitely like the strength of that message coming through here. And like I said, if nothing else, that could possibly be tied to the fact that, like we mentioned, as we get toward the end of July, we will have the North Node moving into your sign, which is roughly around an 18-month-long transit and can be pretty significant as far as growth goes there. But yeah, hopefully that resonated for you guys, and we'll wrap up there. All right, bye.